I think there's a bunch of space music. To me, there's like the kind of jam bandy thing, like when the Grateful Dead used to play and they'd have the sections in their shows, drums and then space. That's a thing. And then to me, any reverbed out, like kind of washed out, folksy or synthy stuff is kind of reminiscent of space music. And stuff that's like, sounds like a middle school biology film or something about like sciencey, like that's kind of space music too. Purple turtle. One of the things that I'm interested in, that I guess it seems like everything that I'm doing of my own is starting to encompass kind of like weird spacey Texas stuff. Like I'm really into like Texas swing and like kind of psychobilly stuff these days, and like Junior Brown and stuff like that. And I made a lot of music that was a little too much in that direction and not spacey enough to make the cut, and it detracted from that. And also there were songs that didn't like, not that every song outwardly has a theme of being like lost in outer space, but some were just, that I'd written, were just too far away from that. The Pyad thing was, there were rules of composition to that, and that was the only theme. And the rules was that like everything had to be done in a 24-hour segment. So each song was like soup to nuts. You have a day to do it. And otherwise it just lost the aesthetic. And part of that aesthetic was that nothing was ever completely finished or like wrapped up. And this was actually a record that in some ways is an actual concept album, where it's like, they're not all songs. Some of them are like, some of the songs on there are just like little musical interludes or whatever to weave it together. But for me, there's a story there that's like a metaphorical thing about a dude like stranded in space, and it has some really great aspects and not so great aspects. But that's my own personal thing, and I'm not probably at liberty to share what every song actually means. The cool thing about when I do stuff with Daniel or film scores is that there's a lot of limitations. So like when me and Daniel do something, there's usually a budget for a specific amount of instrumentalists, which is often me and one other person. So, which is great, because it's like, how much can you do with a duo? And then with the film, I guess this is kind of in between, because with the film stuff, it's like, what can I do by myself at my house? And this was kind of in between that, but it was great too, because I do so much collaborative stuff where I don't really call the shots, and I like that because I relish the challenge of that, of having to fit into other people's mold. But this was really fun for me to just do really what I wanted to do. This is incidentally like a really good like globe of the universe. I have a thing with birds. I pretty much daily, well, not anymore, but I was on a kick where I fed this family of cardinals every day, and they competed with some mourning doves, and I love those guys, And those birds, those were not my birds that were on the recording. Those were some birds that I recorded on my birthday on a rooftop in Bushwick, bird watching. And